Hello, investors and traders, and welcome to the weekly market report. I'm AJ Monte, and this is a monthly candle chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF, ticker symbol DIA. We're coming into the final 2 minutes of this very crazy trading week. It is official. The bromance between Donald Trump and Elon Musk is officially over. There was some fallout this week in Tesla and DJT, which is Donald Trump's media group, as well as some of the tech stocks. And the big question that comes up from a lot of the longer term viewers is, why are you still so bearish? And I go right back to the technicals. I follow Dow Theory. The tenants talk about trends. It talks about volume. It talks about how the news is already discounted in the price of the stock. But here's the news flash, folks. You've got the monthly chart right here. This is January. And guess what? The Dow is down on the year. It's not raging higher to new highs right now. Not only is it not breaking out of the highs, but the volume is not supporting that in any way, shape, or form. You can see the volume is dropping on these three candles that are heading higher. And so when the volume is dropping, this is the third tenet of Dow Theory, is that the volume needs to confirm the trend. That's why I'm keeping that downside target. And when I back out, looking at the weekly chart, is that really a far-fetched target at 368.12? Didn't we see something like that here in 2022? Well, I think this whole area is going to duplicate. I think we're going to see a repeat performance of that. And I'll talk more about the divergences and what we're seeing in the CCI especially. Here we go. The close is official on this Friday, June 6th. Now, going to the daily chart, let me just show you this. If you look at the CCI, again, down here, you could see that we're in overbought territory. But if you look down below, you could see that the CCI was at a higher level back here when the price was much lower. This is a very important lesson, that when the price is higher, but the highs on the CCI are lower, that is an extremely bearish condition. Whether you believe that or not, or whether you buy into the downside forecast or not, that's just the fact. It's an extremely bearish condition, and you can go back and look at other times when that has happened. Look back in January when the CCI was right at that high right here, and then look at the price. See how the price went higher, but the CCI went much lower and continued to go lower from there? What happened? We had that big sell-off. So my opinion has nothing to do with what I'm talking about here on this chart. I'm just reading the signals like a meteorologist would read the signals on a weather chart, right? You look at the barometer, you look at the temperature. If things are telling you a storm is coming, yeah, the storm might hit you, and then again, it may not, but the meteorologist has to report that there is a threat approaching, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here on DIA. Now, don't get me wrong. We have long positions. In fact, the trade of the week this week was a long position in LLY, Eli Lilly. And I'm going to show you how that trade is progressing towards the end. So stay tuned for that, because I'm trying to include trades of the week each and every week to show everyone how we're trading, both on the short side and on the long side. So again, downside target on DIA is still at 368.12. Looking at IWM, I could back out here, and you could see that we have a very small spinning top on lower volume, while the CCI and the stochastic are in overbought territory. Again, you have the negative divergence. Look at the high on the CCI down here and where the price was here. Look at how much higher the price is here today as we end this trading week. Look at the lower highs, not just on the CCI, but look at the lower highs on the stochastic. That is a negative divergence. And it is one of the most important signals that you need to pay attention to, especially the long-term buy and hold investors. This is a trading market right now. We've got enough volatility to get in and out of individual stocks, ETFs. If you want to trade Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you can do that. There's lots of volatility, but you have to make sure that you're managing risk. Now, The downside forecast on IWM is still 175.81. Look at this on the monthly chart. Again, is that an outrageous target? Not really, because we've tested that several times over the past couple of years. And if you look again, zooming in here, you can see that there is January right there. Are we raging into new highs right now? No, we're down on the year and we're halfway through the year, like I said. So here's the monthly chart. The volume is dropping on the way up here. And when I look at this monthly chart, I see one big fat ABCD pattern. And I've talked about that so many times here. Right at the top would be pivot A, right? Pivoted lower. Here's your pivot. On this candle here, this green candle is your pivot. So you're putting the B right there. We're heading towards a C. I cannot put that C there just yet until we get a pivot lower. But once it does pivot lower, what do we expect in an ABCD pattern? For it to drop below B to a new lower D. That's how ABCD patterns work. They are all over the board. And again, I'm reading the charts, and that's why I have that downside target on IWM at 175.81. I'm going to hop right to the Qs because this is one that's holding more or less a break even so far for the year. Right, here's January right there, and we're hovering right at those highs. Now, if we pull down from this resistance high, now you have a double top. What's a double top? A double top is a pattern that tells us that the sellers are holding the line. Now, if the middle part of the double top, which would be very similar to an M top, if it starts doing this and hits my target down here on the Qs at 417.67 and breaks below that low, then you take the height of the pattern, attach that to the breakout point below support, and that's how you forecast the market. So we're taking one step at a time with the downside target on the Q still at 417.67. Think about this. If JP Morgan or Citi or Bank of America or any of their analysts put a target on any stock or market, how often do they change that target? Well, the answer is they don't change it often. They let it sit there. They'll make adjustments when it doesn't look like it's going to hit it, but they don't just go up and down and change the targets every single week. They leave it. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I am taking long positions and quite a good number of them, but our overall position, our overall delta is still pointing to the downside again because of the technicals telling us that the volume is dropping on the way up. Go look up Dow Theory, go look up tenet number 3, and you could see why that's so important that you look at volume. All right, moving on to SPY. Here we go. It's going to be pretty much the same story. There's the monthly chart. Look at the negative divergence down here. You see this? Negative, negative, both on the stochastic and the CCI. You have a lower price high closing today on this June 6th, and we are still lower. Almost at a break even, but this too is most likely going to form a double top. With the drop in volume, it's hard to imagine that the bulls are going to have enough momentum to push it far above these highs back here from January of this year. Now I'm going to go to the daily chart and look at the VIX. I still have an upside target on the VIX. That's pretty extreme, but I guarantee you it will hit that and fill that gap at 36.85. The big question is when. We don't know when, but I can give you a guarantee because the VIX is an oscillating index. It's not a stock. And all gaps, 100% of the gaps, in fact, fill. And so that upside target is still in place at 36.85. Now, we had a request come in from one of our viewers, Snow Basin 5260, asking about Microsoft and commenting that it's forming a double top and is it time to reduce the shares. Well, I can't tell you how to trade or what to do. I can't give you advice, especially on YouTube here, but I can look at the technicals. And if you look at MSFT, what do you got? That is a double top from back here. Take a look. Look at the monthly chart. Again, I'm using the monthly chart so you can see this. There's the double top. Not only is it a double top up here, but the volume is dropping. We still have a lot of month left in June, but I do not believe that this month is going to beat last month's volume. And the big deal for Microsoft, and it is a big deal, is that there's a gap below on the monthly chart. The monthly chart has a gap, right? So Microsoft gapped up at the beginning of last month. Looking back at the history of Microsoft, and you could go back as far as you want, how many times have we had a monthly gap on Microsoft? Well, guess what? Never. In the history of the stock, not only has it never formed, but this one is still open. So if you're following my gap fill rules, you'll know that 80% of the time gaps fill, with the exception of the VIX, which is 100%. So that gap is going to be staring down all the long position holders that get long on this low here. And you have to understand, again, that that gap is most likely going to act as a price magnet. So that's for you, Snow Basin. Hopefully that helps you out. Now I'm going to talk about the trade of the week with Eli Lilly. And before we get into that, let me just show you that Eli Lilly did a great job forming this double bottom. This is also known as a W bottom. It's the opposite of an M top. And we took a long position on this one to offset the negative delta that we're holding in a diagonal candle put spread. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to learn a little bit about options. You can come over to StickyTrades and learn how to do that. But we position trade on the option side in our super spread service. So we had a negative delta position on Eli Lilly. We had a great trade. I pointed that out last month where we took a put spread and the stock dropped $100 the very next day when we put that put spread on. And then when the stock started bottoming out, I wanted to offset the negative delta from the put spread by adding a positive delta on the call spread. So this is called a condor. And so what we want to see happen with Eli Lilly is we want it to stay in this range right here. As long as that price action stays in this box, we're going to be making money on the put spread and we're going to be making money on the call spread down below, right? So that's a beautiful position. It's more or less a delta neutral position where you're long a call spread and you're long a put spread, a diagonal that is, and the life of this spread will go on till 2027. Now let me show you the trade and how this worked out for us. Okay, so this is from our publication page where I'm pulling that so you could see the entire position. On May 12th, we bought the June 2027 calls. Now, when you buy a call, you want the price to go up. But against those calls, we sold out of the money calls in an attempt to take in some cash to help lower the cost basis of the long put that we're holding. Now, follow me here. You know, it's not rocket science, but just understand. We bought a call and we're selling out of the money calls in strike prices that are far above where Eli Lilly is trading. And we're using the market's cash to pay down the cost basis of the long side of our spread. That's the whole premise of the spread. Now, this week on June 4th, what did we do? We bought the calls back here for $9. Remember, we sold those for $16. We bought them back $7 cheaper. And then what did we do? In their place, we sold another call in July. So we rolled the strike price out to July. Same strike, but we rolled it out to expiration July 18th. And we took in a whopping $18 credit. Now that's how we dance with the market. I call it dancing with the market. When you have a spread, you have a long side, which I have highlighted here in green, and you have a short side, which we now have highlighted in red, right? The green side is your left leg. That comes from the trading floor. And the sell side is your right leg. So you have a left leg and you have a right leg. Why do I call it dancing with the market? Because we keep moving our legs month to month to collect these massive credits. Now, if you just did one option contract, this rollout would have allowed you to take in $1,800. If you traded 10 contracts in that one rollout, you would have collected $18,000. And a lot of our members are trading bigger volume, so they had a great rollout on that particular trade. Now, you will not be hearing the end of this one. I can't tell you when we're going to do the rolls ahead of time because that goes to our members. They pay for that service. But I will tell you that this is a trader's market, especially and option traders market. So there's the trade of the week. If you'd like to learn more about how to spread trade, come on over to Sticky Trades. We have a free membership. Very, very simple to enroll. No strings attached. No credit card needed. Come on over for 2 weeks and tap into our option courses. That's through StickyTrades University, and you'll have a good time. Now, I do want to talk about some of the economic news, and that will help you, again, understand how I'm using the technical signals, following the 6 tenets of Dow Theory, combining that with the economic news and the data that we are getting. Now, a lot of the news channels are, I will come right out and say, they're ignoring the numbers. Look at this. This came out from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics talking about multiple job holders. Think about this, just the common sense. Why are so many people now holding multiple jobs? Well, the bottom line is they can't make ends meet. They got to work harder, so they take on multiple jobs. I'm telling you this, my heart goes out to people that have to do this, but it's a fact. And we haven't seen this in almost 30 years, folks. You see how the media ignores this, especially on an up day like today? The media is ignoring this. This is the biggest increase of multiple job holders in over 30 years. Let that sink in there for you, folks. Okay, now let's take another look. Liz Ann Saunders, who I know from Charles Schwab, put out this report a few days ago. Construction spending fell by 0.4% month over month in April. Now, think about that. Construction spending is dropping. Why is that? Well, there just isn't a demand for homes right now. Take a look at this next report. The red line represents the number of sellers. The blue line represents the buyers. This is from MLS data. Again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out. There are many more sellers than there are buyers. That's why construction is down. People just don't have the money to buy new homes. They don't have the money to make the mortgage payment with interest rates the way they are. You see, so I'm going to go quickly here because this is all what's coming up that everyone is ignoring. Look at the ISM services. This is new orders index. Look at this one dropping like a rock. We're approaching the lows here from the 2020 COVID crisis. What's next? We'll take a look at this. This is the number of layoffs in the U.S. in the services sector. This is the third highest reading in layoffs in 25 years. I cannot emphasize this enough. These are the facts, folks. So when you say, how could you be so bearish? I'm just looking at the data. I'm looking at the charts. I make money on the way up just like a lot of other folks, and I tell you that. So I can't understand why someone would say permabear when I'm taking a long position in many stocks, especially like what we just showed you in Eli Lilly. Well, this is the facts. Again, layoffs are third highest in 25 years. You can't ignore it. What else we have here? Well, this is ISM manufacturing. Manufacturing is down, and the last time we saw this was in the great financial crisis in 2008. What's next on the list? Right here, look at the shipments coming out of China. They're dropping again like a rock. So when you feel like you're going to ignore this and just go continue to just buy, and I'm not telling you not to buy, but it's a very different market. This is not a buy and hold market. This is, in my opinion, a buy and protect market. So when you take a long position, come on over again to our website and learn how to use the 1% rule. The 1% rule is a way to use a simple math formula to protect your position, to use stops, to get out when you think that the market's a little toppy. Maybe you don't have to get out of all of it, but at least get out of some of it, and then protect the rest. Because I can't tell you how many times over 43 years of teaching people how to trade, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people turn winners into losers because they're ignoring the signals. All right, folks, I enjoy giving these presentations. I hope you are getting a lot of value out of this. I try to give you a little educational nugget each week. We threw some Microsoft in there for you. We threw some economic data in there for you. We threw some monthly charts in there for you. Again, keep your eyes focused on the charts. Turn off CNBC, and you'll have a much better time of it. Take care, folks. Have a great weekend. So long.